A whole lot of Anthem was just unveiled in a big way at EA Play 2018, and here are the 5 coolest features you need to know about the game. What's going on, everybody? It's Ghost Robo, and E3 is officially underway. EA Play is in the bag, and Anthem was the tentpole showpiece of their conference. Now, the game launches February 22nd, 2019, which I think is a pretty cool date, and here are the 5 coolest features that they showcased today. Number 1 is no RNG'd loot boxes. We'll get this one out the way because it's the consumer-friendly one, and it's the one that they had to get out the way given their past history. There will be no RNG loot boxes, no RNG microtransactions. Now, they did say there will be specific microtransactions, and they definitely left the door open for expanded content, annual passes, expansion passes, things of that sort, but there won't be any of the pay-to-win nor randomized loot boxes that people have become frustrated with. They specifically said that nothing you can buy will enhance your performance as a player, and that is a good thing. It helps them avoid the death knell that rang Star Wars Battlefront 2 out to dry way too early. Number 2 are the suits of the game, the javelins. These are the 4 classes, basically, of Anthem, and where it finds some difference with Destiny. Now, they say that the pilot, your character, is the focus here, not necessarily the suit or the class, and that's because they are changeable between missions. This is a big departure from Destiny, where you pick your class from the beginning, and that is what you are stuck with, and I'm curious how this will be received. On one hand, it opens up a lot more flexibility and a lot more variety within a playthrough, but on the other hand, you can kind of switch at free will, and maybe it doesn't leave as much room for dedication and association with a specific role. Now, the 4 javelins are Ranger, Colossus, Interceptor, and Storm. They look super awesome. Anthem is jam-packed with color, and I actually like this idea personally. So the Ranger is the general class. He is the average overall, best at one-on-one, kind of your soldier type role. Then the Colossus is, as the name states, the heavy, the big gun. He will come in and lay a ton of damage down across the battlefield. The Interceptor is more of your speedy rogue / assassin type class, and then the Storm is the mage with electricity coursing through its veins and looking a whole lot similar to a class from Destiny. Now, let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this idea of being able to switch roles, switch classes between missions. Like I said, it's kind of exciting, adds variety, but maybe it dilutes the commitment and that dedication and that identification with a specific role. Number 3 is the absolute massive vastness of the world of Anthem. The game looks huge, and the environments are likewise gigantic. Both vertically and horizontally, you're traveling humongous swaths of landscape, and even in the short demo, the environment was just blazing by as you move from place to place, taking on some giant enemies. And while we've seen big foes in boss battles and strikes from Destiny, it looks like large-scale enemies will be a bigger component of Anthem, even in the overworld, as we see giants just wandering. And this fits in with the game's lore, where the world has been left unfinished by gods, and the Anthem of creation is something you come in conflict with. That creates giant storms, mutated creatures, and more, and the world looks really beautiful. There's a lot of color. The storms themselves and the weather effects look really good, and I cannot wait to see the enemy variety, because thus far they look really cool and really big. Building off that is number 4, which is the movement being such a focus here in Anthem. They emphasized flying and swimming, as you will be, again, needing to traverse a large landscape quickly, and it looks like that's going to be a big differentiator in terms of how this game plays, how the shooting plays out, and how the overall mission structure ends up working. It looks like you're going to be traversing quite a bit, and while there probably will be indoor sections as well, I think a lot of this game is going to take place outdoors and really exploring the variety of these environments as well as the weather effects, and thereby the weapon systems and the character abilities will have to fit into that foundation and be able to cover wide-scale ranges, wide-scale areas, and be effective at a variety of heights and a variety of distances. I wonder how this will strike players, and definitely let me know how it strikes you in the comments down below, because we have seen an emphasis in shooters lately of boots on the ground, keeping things localized and keeping things contained. We kind of went through the phase where Titanfall and at sometimes Call of Duty really expanded into the air and into this very futuristic space, and while you can float in Destiny, it's nothing like Anthem in terms of how much you're moving. Does this look like it will add to the experience or be a mere gimmick? I guess with the scale and scope of the world and the scale and size of the enemies, this has to be the way Anthem is, and I kind of like it. It definitely has a different feel. It reminds me much more of Titanfall, and I'm a real big fan of that franchise, so for me, it is a thumbs up. The fifth and final feature may end up being one of the biggest features that helps determine the greatness of this game, and that is the storytelling and choices that occur when the game goes single player. So obviously it is a multiplayer co-op focused experience out in the overworld and out during the missions, but back at base they mentioned Fort Tarsis as a place where you will be interacting with characters solo and your choices and decisions will come into play. This is where the traditional BioWare Mass Effect lineage really shows its face, and I hope it's super cool. The story that they're telling seems very broad stroke, and in fact the entire presentation was pretty broad stroke. They didn't really touch too close on any of these specific points, but they laid the groundwork for potentially a really cool mixture of MMO, open world, multiplayer, shooter looter experience, and then also tried and true BioWare choices, dialogue, storytelling. We didn't get to see any of that, but we know the game looks good and they're promising a lot of interesting characters, so we'll have to take their word for it. But again, this could be the difference between whether Anthem succeeds and shines above other games in this genre, or merely feels like an also-ran and maybe even spells the decline for BioWare. So that's my list for the 5 coolest features unveiled about Anthem. The no RNG loot boxes, no pay-to-win schemes. You've got the 4 Javelins, Ranger, Colossus, Interceptor, and Storm, and the fact that you can switch between them at will and basically occupy 4 classes throughout your playthrough. You've got the scale and scope of the world, which takes shape in terms of the environments as well as the enemies, and then you have the movement where you're flying and swimming around this huge world, and that is going to dramatically impact gameplay and the weapons you wield as well as your powers. And last but not least, it's that storytelling and choice. How does that factor in? How deep is it? And how do they bridge single player with multiplayer, looter shooter, with a choice-driven BioWare narrative? Let me know how you feel about Anthem in the comments down below. I'll keep you covered if anything new appears about the game. I'm pretty excited for it. I just want to see more. And the game is out in 8 months, so I'm sure we'll be getting that soon. You can pre-order now. They did note that there's a special edition where you'll get VIP access to pre-launch demos, but they didn't say when those are coming. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but I will not expect them anytime soon. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I love you. Keep it tuned to this channel and my Twitter feed for up-to-the-minute updates at E3. I'll be there all week covering all the big stuff. I got a lot of appointments, so you're going to want to tune in. Until then, though, thanks again. Drink so much, and we will see you all later.